Grüß, willkommen in einem aufregendes video. Welcome to another exciting video, in this case episode 4 of my battle series of videos. This video is covering the Battle of Kadesh, or the Battle of Kadesh. The battle took place between the forces of the new kingdom of Egypt under Ramesses II and the Hittite Empire under Mulawati II at the city of Kadesh on the Orontes River, just upstream of Lake Homs near the modern Lebanon-Syria border. This video is mainly focused on looking at the battle from a figure gaming point of view, which includes the order of battle, troop types, and the flow of the battle. If you wish a big picture of why the battle was fought, then this video may not be for you, but if you want to know about the troop types, force mixes, and what actually occurred on the battlefield, then continue to view on. The battle is generally dated to 1274 BC from the Egyptian chronology and is the earliest pitched battle in recorded history for which details of tactics and formations are known. It is believed to have been the largest chariot battle ever fought, involving between 5,000 and 6,000 chariots in total. As a result of the discovery of multiple Kadesh inscriptions and the Egyptian-Hittite peace treaty, it is the best documented battle in all of ancient history. The immediate antecedents to the Battle of Kadesh were the early campaigns of Ramesses II into Cannae. In the fourth year of his reign, he marched north into Syria, either to recapture Amurra or as a probing effort to confirm his vassals' loyalty and explore the terrain for possible battle locations. In the spring of the fifth year of his reign, in May 1274 BC, Ramesses II launched a campaign from his capital Pi-Ramesses, modern Qantir. The army moved beyond the fortress of Chejil and along the coast leading to Gaza. The recovery of Amurra was Mutawadi II's stated motivation for marching south to confront the Egyptians, resulting in the Battle of Kadesh. Ramesses led an army of 4 divisions, Amu, Re, Set, and the apparently newly Put division. There was also a poorly documented troop unit called the Nurm, Niaran or Nirin, possibly Canaanite military mercenaries with Egyptian allegiance or even Egyptians, that Ramesses II had left in Amurra, apparently in order to secure the port of Sumer. This division would come to play a critical role in the battle. Also significant was the presence of Sheridan troops within the Egyptian army. This is the first time they appear as Egyptian mercenaries, and they would play an increasingly significant role in late Bronze Age history, ultimately appearing among the sea people that ravaged the eastern Mediterranean at the end of the Bronze Age. It's not possible to be precise about the size of the Egyptian chariot forces at Kadesh, although it could not have numbered less than 2,000 vehicles, spread throughout the core of Amur, Piri, Put, and Sutek, assuming that approximately 500 machines were allocated to each corps. To this we may need to add those of the Nirin, for if they were not native Egyptian troops, their number may not have been formed from chariots detached from the army corps and could be in addition to the Egyptian chariots. Historians estimate there were about 2,000 Egyptian chariots. These were normally 2-crew, 2-horse chariots, with the primary weapon being the bow. It's also estimated the Egyptians possessed about 16,000 foot or infantry, which may have included or not included the 5th Division for what many feel are Allied troops and not Egyptian troops. Let's drill down in a little bit more detail using DBMM structures or formats for the different troop types. The 2-crew, 2-horse light chariot were the primary shock element of the Egyptian army. This troop type proved critical in the battle and probably numbered about 2,000. There would have been a very low number of troops which would have been mounted on horses or asses, riding them in the same manner as donkeys. This troop type would have not had much impact during the battle, but was important in terms of scouting. Unfortunately, this was not performed well in this particular battle, particularly from the Egyptian side. The Egyptians had a small number of foot, which were classed as royal guard, armed with axes as well as spear and shields. I suspect these may have been with Ramesses himself and may have consisted of a single unit of up to about 1,000 men. However, in terms of the foot, the Egyptian spearman was the bedrock of the Egyptian army, and together with the close order archer, the bulk of the 16,000 wood infantry would have been this type of troop type. Probably an equal number of close order troops would have been archer armed. It's estimated half of the close order troops may have consisted of close order archer closely supporting the spearmen. Some of the archers would have performed skirmish functions. The number is unknown, but according to some guesses, up to 400 of this troop type existed in each Egyptian division. It's also possible, apart from the four main corps, there was a fifth allied group of troops, a smaller number obviously, but they arrived to assist the Egyptians at a critical time during the battle. The number is unknown, but may have consisted of a minimum of 1,000 men and a maximum of 4,000 men. My wild guess is half the Allied troops would have been this particular type of troop type, Syro-Canaanite foot, and their numbers would have been closer to 1,000 than 4,000. These troops would have been a mix of troops armed with spears and shields. Some of the Allied troops would have also been archers, and they would have acted as skirmishers. This may have consisted of up to half of the Allied troops. On the Hittite side, King Mutawalli II had mustered several of his allies, among them the Rimi Sharara, the king of Aleppo. Ramesses II recorded a long list of 19 Hittite allies brought to Kadesh by Mulawati. This list is of considerable interest to Hittitologists as it reflects the extent of Hittite influence at the time. It's estimated the Hittites at their peak possessed as many as 10,000 chariots. It's unknown how many of these chariots were actually at the Battle of Kadesh. Certainly not 10,000, a significantly lower number, probably close to the Egyptian 2,000. These chariots had 3 crew and consisted of a spearman as well as a javelin. The total number of Hittite foot at the Battle of Kadesh probably numbered about 15,000 infantry. The elite forces in the Hittite army were the chariots, which were 3 crew chariots, unlike the Egyptians. The Hittite chariots were the most likely part of the permanent army, so they were highly motivated, highly trained, etc. Supporting the Hittites and their allies were the vassal chariots, which were also 3 crew chariots, although some may have been 2 crew chariots as well. As I lack an image of a Hittite mounted scout, I'm presenting you with this. The Hittites would have had a small number of the mounted scouts, which acted in a similar role to the Egyptian mounted scouts, scouting. The Hittites' primary infantry were the standing army, which were armed with axes and long spears. Supporting the regular infantry were the Hittite conscripts, which were not as well trained or armed. Probably there were few of any of this troop type at the Battle of Kadesh. A large part of the army at Kadesh would have consisted of Syrian vassal spearmen and javelin, armed with a spear and shield. Supporting the vassal spearmen were the vassal archers, armed with a bow and fighting as skirmishers or in close order with the spearmen as required. There would have been a reasonable number of subject and allied skirmish troops armed with spears, javelins and fighting as skirmishers, or with a shield and capable of melee combat. Let's now drill down into the sequence of the battle. The Egyptians were divided into 4 divisions. The Amun division was encamped close to Kadesh, with the Ra division moving up towards it. The Egyptians were totally oblivious to the position of the Hittite army, but the Hittites certainly were not in this situation, and they were fully aware of the Egyptians. The Egyptians sent a very powerful force of chariots out to attack the Egyptian Ra division before it could meet up with its sister division. It's estimated this force probably consisted of about 1,000 chariots, if not slightly more. Once the chariots had crossed a stream, the Hittite chariots hit the Ra division in the flank while it was moving. It drove deep into the Ra division, disordering it, and put the Egyptians into an impossible position. This attack caused the infantry to break and rout, with the chariots escaping, the Egyptian chariots escaping, and they fled towards the Amun division. Initially, we think the Hittite chariots pursued the infantry, but after a short pursuit, rallied and drove up to the Amun division, following the Egyptian chariots, which had moved in that direction earlier. The Hittites now attacked the Amun division. However, this division was in a semi-prepared position, so they weren't going to have such an easy time of it. The Hittite chariots engaged the Egyptian infantry and slowly started pushing the infantry back, putting the Egyptians under enormous pressure. While the infantry was engaged, the Egyptian chariots left the camp and flanked the Hittites and hit them in the rear. This attack in the rear, with the Egyptian spearmen to the front, caused the Hittites to rout, or at least withdraw, and these were followed by the Egyptian chariots. While the Egyptian chariots pursued the Hittites sent another force of chariots, perhaps another 1,000 chariots, to attack the Amun division on the opposite flank. Just a quick note, this is one possible interpretation of the way the battle flowed. There are many others, so this is the one I've selected, which I think is probably the closest to reality. This second force of Hittite chariots, in this case, drove deep into the camp and were beginning to break the Amun division when suddenly the Egyptian Syrio-Canaanite allies arrived and attacked the Hittites in the flank. The Hittites, being attacked on the flank as well as facing the Egyptians to the front, then withdrew, although in this particular case they definitely didn't rout. The day came to a close and the battle ended. The result of this battle, which was effectively a stalemate, in some ways it was an Egyptian defeat that was, narrowly averted Egyptian debacle. But anyway, the result was that both the Hittites and Egyptians signed a treaty, and pretty much conflict between those two superpowers ended at this particular point of time. This completes episode 4 of my battle series of videos covering the Battle of Kadesh, Alle guten Ding, kommen zu einem Ende.